If you are traveling internationally and are wondering what you can expect from the process or even how to start planning your international trip, this is the video for you. In today's video, we're going to be covering everything that you need to know about international travel, including booking your flights, what documents do I need, what can you expect in the immigration process. So whether this is your first time traveling out of the country or your 100th time, after watching today's video, you're going to come away with some tips and tricks that are going to help you travel better abroad. Make sure you stick around till the end of the video today, as I'm going to be sharing a couple of announcements that I'm really excited about, one of which might be sending you to a tropical paradise. Let's get this video started. Planning an international trip can be super daunting, especially if it's your first time. It's hard to sometimes know where to even start. Should I book my flights? Should I book my accommodations? Where do I stay? Is there a tipping culture? All of this can be super overwhelming and can be a turnoff for people trying to travel internationally for their first time. So here are some tools that you're gonna wanna get familiar with before you start planning your first international trip. The first one being Google Flights. You've heard me talk about this in a lot of my other videos, but this is gonna be your best database for finding the best possible flights. It's a great way to compare airlines, shift around your dates, so that way you know you're getting the best price possible. Another tool you're going to want to get familiar with is Google Maps. This is really going to help you when you're traveling internationally, as you're probably going to be using it to get most places. Another tool you're going to want to get familiar with is called WhatsApp. In most countries, this is going to be your best way to communicate. WhatsApp is a texting and call platform that allows you to do it through Wi-Fi, so you don't have to worry about paying for cellular data or anything like that. Now, there's tons of awesome travel tools out there, and I made an entire video about different travel apps that you might want to consider checking out, being that I go into more detail about all of these tools. Now, one of my favorite travel tools that I literally use every single day, and I'm not joking when I say this, I do use this tool every single day, and it is a travel newsletter. Not just any travel newsletter, a newsletter called Daily Drop. Now, if you've never heard of Daily Drop, it is a newsletter geared around travel. Specifically, how to maximize points and miles to help you travel more. This newsletter was started by other big YouTubers named Kara and Nate, which I'm personally huge fans of. But this newsletter is amazing because it's super digestible. It only takes about 5 minutes to read each day. It's written in a really enjoyable way. I actually enjoy reading each newsletter. And not only does it talk about how to maximize points and miles to travel more, it does a great job of just keeping me updated on various travel news, whether it be different changes in TSA requirements or global entry, which we'll talk about later, as well as I can take advantage of huge opportunities when it comes to getting free travel from points and miles. I would highly encourage you sign up for this newsletter. It's entirely free. I'll make sure to leave a link below. As well as Daily Drop right now is doing a pretty sweet giveaway that I'll talk more about at the end of this video, so you're going to want to stick around. Packing for an international trip can be quite difficult, being that you're usually traveling for longer and farther away. I want to mention a couple things in today's video, though I'm not going to dive into a ton of detail, but the two things I do want to mention is, first being, try to travel carry-on only if possible. This is a great way to save you a lot of stress and trouble. Number two, this is a huge one for international travel. Make sure you pack everything that you might need in your destination with you. This includes a change of clothes, medications, any toiletries that you might need. This is important, especially if you're checking a bag, because there is a risk that you might lose your luggage. And you want to be able to function properly when you get to your destination, just in case that happens. Making sure that you have all of your travel documents in order for international travel is super important. The way I like to do it is basically 2 steps, and this might be a bit overkill, but I like it because it kind of covers all of my bases and it makes me worry a lot less. The first thing I do is I make digital copies of all of my important documents. My passport, health insurance, visas, driver's license. I will scan those items to a folder on my phone so that way I have access there. That's kind of backup number 1. Backup number 2 is I will also print a hard copy of all of those documents, just in case. I usually hide them in my suitcase and put them in a safe place. But again, just in case you lose your passport or something like that, you want to make sure that you have multiple backups. Another pro tip is oftentimes when you're traveling internationally, hotels might hold your passport or Airbnbs might hold your passport. Instead of having them hold my physical passport, I will actually give them a paper copy. It reassures me that I'm not going to lose my passport, and that way I always have access to it. And having that paper copy is a great way to solve that issue if that ever happens to you. Now, when it comes to figuring out what travel documents you need for each country, that's going to require a bit of research, being that every country is a little bit different. Some require a visa, some don't. Some require proof of health insurance, some don't. One resource that I really like to use to get this information is travel.state.gov. Whatever country you're traveling to, you can go on that website and it'll give you all of the requirements that you might need for that country, including things like vaccinations as well. So if you're a United States citizen, I would highly recommend using that resource. But otherwise, you can just Google all this information. Again, it will require a bit of research. One major thing that you cannot forget about is how you're going to pay for stuff. This is obviously really important, and I get questions about this all the time. How do I handle my finances when I'm traveling? But the main important thing that you want to make sure when you're traveling abroad is that you have multiple forms of payments, because you never know when something's going to happen to one form. You need to have a backup. So Meg and I, when we're traveling, we always like to travel with a couple credit cards. We use travel credit cards so we don't have any foreign transaction fees. I'll link my favorite travel cards below if you're interested. It's also a good idea to travel with a bank card or an ATM card. Ideally, if you can find one that doesn't have ATM fees or reimburses you for ATM fees would be ideal. That's what Meg and I have. But if not, an ATM card is really nice just in case you need to get cash when you're in that destination. Meg and I use our ATM card all the time when we're traveling because we just prefer to get cash when we get to our destination. Whether it be tipping people or paying for street food or street vendors, having access to cash is really nice and important. In one of my other videos, I got roasted in the comments for saying that I don't travel with cash. My apologies, I did a very poor job explaining what I meant in that video, and I definitely deserved getting roasted in the comments. Trust me, there's so many comments saying, "This guy doesn't travel with cash, he's crazy." I do travel with cash, and let me explain myself. Meg and I often don't travel with a ton of cash through the airport. I find that it's really risky to travel with hundreds of dollars when you're moving all over the place. Oftentimes, Meg and I get cash when we get to our destination. So not to worry, I do travel with cash. I don't recommend not traveling with cash, but I don't also recommend traveling with a ton of cash. You can always get cash when you get to your destination. Don't forget to arrive earlier for international flights. This is often forgot about and maybe just isn't known if you've never traveled internationally before. But when you're going abroad, you will often board much earlier. 45 minutes, up to an hour before your plane leaves, you will start boarding. So I always recommend 3 hours in advance for international trips. Versus domestic, it's usually about 2 hours. So make sure you give yourself enough time when arriving at the airport, being that they need to check more documents as well as you're going to board a bit earlier. You also might want to consider global entry. Now, this is a United States thing, so my apologies if you're watching this video and you're not from the United States. First of all, thanks for watching our videos. But global entry can be really beneficial in saving you time when you enter back into the country. Now, some would say whether you're taking 1 trip or 10 trips, global entry is worth it because it just saves you that much time. It also comes with TSA pre-check, which is really, really nice. Global entry helps you skip the big line in immigration when you're coming back into the United States. Another program that you could take advantage of that is a little bit easier because it doesn't require any sort of application process, and that is called Mobile Passport Control. And this is an app that you'll download, and it's only offered in certain airports, so keep that in mind, but it'll allow you to skip the line similar to that of global entry. It's pretty simple. You'll download the app and you kind of upload all of your travel documents onto this application before you land. And that way it makes the immigration process a lot easier. So I'll make sure to link it below, but make sure to check out Mobile Passport Control if you're not interested in going through the global entry application process. Now we have come to what might be the most stressful part of international travel, especially if this is your first time going through the process, and that is immigration. This is really hard to even talk about because the process is so vastly different depending on what country you are arriving in. Sometimes the country will have you fill out an arrival card with basic information like passport number. Sometimes you'll have to actually talk to an immigration officer. Sometimes it's completely electronic. For example, in Singapore, the whole process was electronic. You kind of go into this like booth thing, scans your passport, you move forward, it takes a picture of you, and then you're done. A lot of airports are actually going to that now because it's way faster and way simpler. Common questions that might be asked when going through immigration might be, where are you staying? How long are you staying? Who are you traveling with? Did you buy any souvenirs from your last destination? Really kind of basic, easy questions like that. Traveling and getting to new countries is an amazing feeling, but can also be super overwhelming when you first land because you get there, people are speaking a different language, you're in a new environment, new city, you don't know where you're going, you don't know much about the currency, and it can be quite overwhelming. So I would highly encourage you to develop a game plan so we know exactly what to do when our plane lands, so we're not just like aimlessly wandering about. That's also a good way to get scammed or get taken advantage of when you have no idea or it doesn't look like you know what you're doing. So having a game plan can help prevent that. But for us, it usually starts with aligning some sort of transportation. So whether we're staying at a hotel or Airbnb, we'll make sure that when we land, we have transportation taken care of. Not all the time, but sometimes it's nice to get that done in advance. Then when we land, we usually like to get cash right away. So that way we have the ability to pay for a taxi cab or tip somebody if we need to or buy something. So we usually get cash. We also make sure our phone before we land is ready to go. So for us, I like to download an eSIM so that way I have access to data, so that way I can use my phone for Google Maps, messaging people, and things like that. If you don't want to do an eSIM, make sure you download your map so that way you can use it right away when you land. Probably my favorite part of traveling internationally is getting to experience so many different ways of life, learning so many new cultures. And one thing I like to do before I travel to a new country is do a little bit of research on that specific culture or country before I arrive. Learn basic phrases like Meg, tapalai koskucha. Please and thank you and hi. Learning whether they tip or not. Learning how to appropriately dress. All of these things will enhance your experience and appreciate the culture more, but also make sure that you're not disrespecting or doing anything wrong in that country, unintentionally. This brings us to my two exciting announcements. The first one relating to Daily Drop, what I talked about earlier in this video, which is that amazing travel newsletter. Daily Drop right now is offering a giveaway for a free trip to Aruba. And you're going to stay at the beautiful Marriott Resort. This is seriously an awesome giveaway because not only are you going to get a 5-night stay for two in an awesome ocean view hotel room, you're gonna get $2,000 to help pay for flights. You're gonna get a $250 food and beverage credit, as well as one free activity for two. Again, this giveaway is 100% free. All you have to do is sign up using the link in my description. If you sign up for the newsletter, you'll be entered into this giveaway. And this is a real giveaway. This is no scam. People that have won previous giveaways from Daily Drop have nothing but glowing reviews, and it's an easy way to maybe win some free travel, as well as at a bare minimum, you're getting signed up for an amazing newsletter that's gonna help you travel more, as I said earlier. I did want to note also that this giveaway ends May 9th, so make sure you get your email entered and signed up for Daily Drop before May 9th, and the winner will be chosen on May 13th. So my apologies if you're watching this video after that time period, but if you are watching it before that time period, make sure you get signed up before May 9th. Announcement number 2, and this is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and I'm finally getting around to doing it, and I'm really excited about it, and hopefully you guys are as well. And that is that we now have Travel Coaches merch. And this is one example of our merch. On the front here, it says memories, not dreams, in this kind of olive green color. Here's another product here, travel in the unknown. On the back, it has one of my inspirations, which is Anthony Bourdain. We also have this like cool packable kind of windbreaker jacket. On the front here, it says from another point of view with a little Google Map icon. So anyway, we have some cool products, and this is just the start. I hope you guys are excited about it. You'll see all these products linked in our store here on YouTube, but I would love your feedback. I would love to grow this collection in the future, so please, in the comments, leave any recommendations for apparel. I wanted to just make cool, travel-inspired merch and not specifically Travel Coaches branded merch. Thanks so much for watching this video and taking the time to learn about some international travel tips that will hopefully make your travel experience abroad a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We will see you in the next video.